Alright, so I'm working on a set for TOPPS. This is the 2019 TOPPS Star Wars Masterwork Set. And for this particular set, I am doing all of my cards in grayscale. So I'm not doing color. So what I'm doing is I've been doing warm grays so far. I've done about 14 or so cards right now, and I'm using COPIC warm grays. What I'm doing is I'm inking them with I'm using micron pens this time around. I just went and picked up a fresh clean set from Hobby Lobby, and usually I like to use some of these mangaka zig cartoon things, but just didn't have time to place an order, so because I forgot. So anyway, I inked this, drew this, inked it, and now I'm using Copic warm grays. So I thought I would throw on the camera and let you guys watch me color this Krennic sketch. Let me make sure the lighting looks good enough for y'all. Let's see. You guys see that? Cool. All right, I'm not great at this whole live drawing thing, but I'm trying. I'm trying to bring content to my channel that people can enjoy. That, and I can't share this right away when I record it, so I have to wait until the product actually releases. So now my Patreon, that's different. If you're a Patreon subscriber, I actually release these early. So if you are interested in seeing this stuff unhidden on my Patreon page, you can join my Patreon, and there are certain levels that get access to stuff like this early. So otherwise you can just hang out and wait until oops, I missed a couple of pencil things. So forgive me, I'm not going to probably talk that much. I'm just going to be coloring mostly, so, and I can't have music in the background, so I don't know, I'll talk a little bit. Maybe I'll talk Star Wars. So Rogue One is probably, I think I keep saying probably, but I know it is my probably my preferred Disney era Star Wars film right now. My favorite, anyway. Okay, by the way, this is I'm using a W0, just going over some of his flesh, and I'm doing it's like an uplit view of Krennic. I think this is when he's talking to Tarkin on the new Death Star, and he's getting ticked off because Tarkin is basically taking over his position. So anyway, I like this. This character was pretty good, I thought. I forgot the actor's name, but he did a great job in this role, I thought. He was also the bad guy in that Steven Spielberg movie. I can't remember the name of that movie now either. Oh well. Anyway. So what I'm doing is I'm gonna I did the whole heroes of Rogue One, that whole gang, and I thought I'd add in this bad guy. And if there's a collector out there that someday wants to try to chase the set of Rogue Ones that I did on the Masterwork set, they can have at it. This is, by the way, one of my favorite sets, probably my favorite set to do, because the card, look at you can see the thickness of the card. This is just a fantastic, awesome, beautiful card. These things are nice to draw on. They're a little grainy. The ink doesn't sit real well with them, but it's okay. Kind of adds to that look with the grayscale. So I had a 0. I just dropped a 0 on Krennic, and then there's some darker points. And I am using a photo reference that I just found on the internet. And it's a unique lighting because it's kind of more of an uplit or something. I don't know. Just looks different. The lighting on this. So that's W3. I went from a 0 to a 3. I'm going to jump down to a 1. My 2 is out of ink. Actually, I can't find my W2. I don't know where my number 2 is at. I should probably go to Hobby Lobby or Michael's today and see if they've got any up there, but for some reason I always have a hard time finding those. It's got a very furrowed look here and scowl. You can see the hatred he has for Tarkin in this scene. I love this scene. That moment when Tarkin turns around in that film and you're like, I just remember sitting in the theater, I looked at my wife and I was like, they did it. They actually brought an actor back to life, and oh my gosh, they did an amazing job, I thought. I know some people said that he looked fake, but I think maybe in some scenes you could tell, but for the most part, oh my gosh, they nailed it. And that's the kind of stuff I love from Lucasfilm, is the innovation that they had a tendency of doing for years. I haven't really seen much of that since Rogue One, in my opinion, but filmmaking was huge to George Lucas, because it wasn't just about the Star Wars story, it was also about innovation in creating. So anyway, I missed that aspect of Lucasfilm when George was in charge. But so this, I'm getting pretty close to being done, because you don't want to overdo it. You kind of want the highlights of the white to show the light on his face, stand out a little bit more. So I think I can go it's a little darker here. This is W3, and I am just sticking to the W's. I'm not jumping to any other colors at all. So I signed up for non-colored so I could try and go a little faster, which is, it does go a little quicker, but it doesn't mean that it's going to be necessarily easier, because you have to really get creative and think differently. With using the same color, so you really have to make sure, like this one had no black, really not much shading with black, because his hair is almost pretty much just grayed out white, so there's not much to contrast with this particular reference and this particular image. But you do have to pay real close attention, and sometimes for an artist, the mistake can be that we see this white area and we're like, oh, I just got to color the whole face, just W0 or W1, and that's not necessarily the case. We sometimes have a tendency of just jumping into that versus just letting the white contrast the gray, the marker. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to blend with my W1 over that I think that was 3 or 4, I can't remember what I just used. Just kind of blend it a little bit with this particular color. And I'm going to leave this, his left, my right side of his face, his hair kind of white on that side to show the light. And see how that looks when you blend it. It looks pretty good, I think, right here. I'll come back through here with some W1. This is 1. Warm gray 1. Come around the curve of his eye socket there. His cheek right here. Just really have to think about the contour of his face and the fact that he's scowling. Yeah, he's looking bad. And I'm leaving the bottom of the nose white. Just right underneath there. And then I'll bring this up just a little here. Just a little bit right there, leading up to his nose. I don't know what they call that little dip that we have between our lips to the bottom of our nose, but I usually try to leave just a little bit like that. And I think, you know, he's actually pretty close to being done because it's a very if you look at the reference, you can look up Krennic Rogue One online. You'll probably find this image. But it's mostly just, there's a lot of white and it's pretty much just the skin tone and the white tunic and cape, and then just this gray hair. So there's really not much, even if I were to color it, there's really not much coloring to be done. So I might just add just another darker shade to give a little more contrast. So this is W5. Lips, I'm just going to take a bit of this 5 right here. Do that. So he's got blue eyes too, so I have to think about the eye color I want, or the shade of warm gray that I want to use. Then I'll take the 0, kind of go through here just a little bit. Not too much because I want it to still stand out. I want that 5 color to really pop a little bit, but I don't want it to, I want to make sure that it blends just a little bit. Even on the lips. Just take the W0. Sometimes you can use a colorless blender too. If you don't want to add color to it, you can use the colorless blender. So there's that. Then on the backgrounds, what I'm using is W3 behind the characters. So what I did, I'm framing all of my pictures or my drawings, and then I'm coloring the background with W3. So hopefully collectors like the grayscale. Thought I'd do it differently this year. This is my 3rd year in a row doing Masterwork, which is, like I said earlier, is my favorite set to do. This one and Galactic Files are probably my favorite. This one is my favorite because 2 reasons. Just like with Galactic Files, you can draw from any Star Wars that's current canon, which means anything that's pretty much Disney era Star Wars plus Clone Wars. So you can do the animated stuff in any of the films. So it means you have a wider variety. And then the other thing I love about this set is, like I showed you, was the thickness of the card. They're just a really classy card. Unfortunately, you can't really buy these on store shelves unless you go to a hobby shop, or you can buy them online, and they're really quite pricey. I've actually never purchased any of these, but I have bought a couple of random sketches off of eBay. So I'm coming in with this W3 on his eyes because he's got blue eyes. So, and I will come in on the eyeball a little bit with this, like that. Now the last thing I do is I just look at the lining. Is there any lining that I want to add? Is there anything I missed? I might take my 005. Sorry, should have had my pens ready. I always forget this when I do live videos or do video recording, is to have everything, all of my tools laid out so that I don't have to make you sit and wait. Here we go. All right, so then I just look at his face and I'm like, okay, he's got a few lines that I missed that just kind of show his age and his grizzledness. And again, I'm using a photo reference. I might do his eyebrow just a little bit and curve his eyebrow there. So I decided, last year when I did this set, I really went with, tried to do more realistic, and I used the Faber or Faber-Castell pencils, and I thought it went really well. Just, man, it was so time consuming. Just so time consuming. So this year I'm like, you know what, I'm going to do grayscale, and then I've been really this year going back to the roots of how I used to draw, which is more comic booky style, with the, the lining and that kind of thing. So, and Copic marker. I really enjoyed it this year, just doing it this way. It's been a lot of fun. So I've been sticking to it. All right. I give you Krennic. Thanks for watching. Don't forget, you can hit my Instagram at KS Geekman. You'll see all this artwork posted there. And then also, if you are interested, if you enjoyed this video and you're interested in getting jumps on seeing stuff as I create for these licensed products, join my Patreon over at patreon.com/KSGeekman. And again, thanks again for those of you that are watching now who are my Patreon supporters. Can't thank you enough. You guys are awesome. I hope you enjoyed the video, and yeah, watch for more. See ya.